tell me something else about Sanatana Goswami. One thing. He's the eldest of the 6 Goswamis, right?
Yes.
Yes. Who was his younger brother? Sanatana Goswami's younger brother was? Starts with an R. And they had a third brother. Sanatan, Rupa, and starts with an A. Anupam. Anupam had a son. Starts with a J. Jiva. We only have 3 more. I was asked to speak for 45 minutes with 15 minutes of discussion, and then you all get to do the next thing, whatever that is. So I'll try to keep within the schedule. And there's so much to say about Sanatana Goswami, it would take 3 classes, but we only have 1. So I narrowed it down. That means I eliminated many nice things about Sanatana Goswami to the narrow topic of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's loving exchanges with Sanatana Goswami. There's going to be 3 parts. That's the plan. And the 3 parts are his connection with Madan-moan. You saw this picture upstairs. This is the deity that was worshipped by Sanatana Goswami in Vrindavan. And for safety, the deity was moved along with all the other deities to Jaipur, and today the deity is not in Jaipur anymore. The deity is in Karoli. The background that you see is in Karoli. Karoli is a very interesting place, and there's history, but I'm not going to go into the history because it's just want to stay focused on the loving exchanges between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sanatana Goswami. Of the deities, one of the things that you heard upstairs, the first of the deities of the Goswamis, or for that matter, Radha Krishna deities in Vrindavan, the first of them was Madan-moan. And we're also going to hear shortly the first of the Radha Krishna deities worshipped in ISKCON was Radha Madan-moan. Another similarity, because we were being asked about that. According to Garga Samhita, there were 8 principal deities carved, installed by Vajranabha. Who was Vajranabha? Who can say? Who was Vajranabha? Great-grandson of Krishna. So when Parikshit became the king, he gave Vajranabha the responsibility of overseeing Mathura, because that was part of the kingdom. And one of the first things that Vajranabha did was he established 8 deities of Krishna in Mathura and the vicinity, including Vrindavan. According to Garga Samhita, there were 4 deities, the first 4 deities, in Mathura, Vrindavan, Govardhan, and Gokul. Dirgha Vishnu, or the deity of Keshava in Mathura. Keshava in Mathura. Keshava Gaudiya Math is a temple that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur established, and the deity there is the deity of Keshava. Govindaji in Vrindavan. Govardhan, Haridev, that same deity that later, Who was it that found the deity of Gopal? Huh? Hari Dev? Huh? Madhavendra Puri. And in Gokul, this is a very far away place from, you have to go way out of your way to get to see the Baladev deity, but he's a very beautiful deity. To Nathas, Sri Nathaji, now this is Nathaji originally at Govardhan. Anyway, this is what it says in Garga Samhita. In Gopinath, now in Jaipur, because the deities were shifted to Jaipur. And two Gopals, Madan Gopal. Madan Gopal later was renamed by Sanatana Goswami, his Madan-moan. But his original name is Madan Gopal. And he was the first Vrindavan deity to be rediscovered. We heard upstairs, Gauravani gave that history. The first of the deities found by Advaitacharya underneath a bakul tree or banyan tree, either way. And Shakshi Gopal, that was in Vrindavan, and somehow he walked all the way to Orissa. You know the story. Shakshi Gopal, that's why he was Shakshi, but it was Gopal. Witness Gopal. In Bhakti Ratnakar, this is the deity of Sanatana Goswami, because they're inseparable, the deity of Sanatana Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. Madan Gopal has been famous as Madan-moan in this world. Sriman Madan Gopal also exists within Vrindavan. Gopal lives eternally as a boy, and Govinda Dev exists as a matured youth. In comparison to these two features, Gopinath is the most beautiful. It's an opinion. Gopal is of a calm but proud disposition. Govinda is calm and broad-hearted, and Gopinath is of a calm and gentle disposition. Gopal is lion-necked. Govinda stands in a threefold bending posture, and Gopinath is a flirt with a broad chest. Bhakti Ratnakar. In case you want to read about what was narrated upstairs in the new temple, you can look it up. Back to Godhead magazine several years ago. This is a Satyaraj article narrating what you heard upstairs. Or what you heard upstairs is a retelling of what was in the Back to Godhead magazine. Here's a photograph of the deity when the deity was first installed. That's Rupanuga. And notice his crown. Notice his crown. But yesterday, some of you were able to see he's without that gold crown. That's the deity in the deity's form. And when placed on the altar, yesterday afternoon, this is a photograph taken yesterday afternoon without all the backdrop and everything. And before the deity is removed, this is a nice deity dressing photograph. Here's another nice Radha Madan-moan photograph. This is a close-up of the deities. So the deity of Sanatana Goswami was Madan-moan. And there's a nice story of how Radha came by his side. And you saw in Karoli, there's Radha and Lalita. Here's the six Goswamis. The eldest, standing forward, is Sanatana Goswami, and to his left or to our right, that's Rupa, and then the other six Goswamis. And one of the things that they did was discuss topics of Krishna together. There's a nice painting of their engaging with one another. And I can tell nice stories, but 45 minutes isn't time to tell nice stories, so, but I'll tell one. First time I visited Vrindavan was the first, Prabhupada called it Mayapur Vrindavan Festival. And it was the February just after Prabhupada had taken the group of devotees to Vrindavan for Kartik. So it was a Kartik month, and it celebrated year. Prabhupada spoke for a whole month at the Radha Damodar temple on the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar Devotion, because it had recently been published. And so he was giving classes for a whole month. And when he gave classes, what's there today wasn't there then. Over to when you're looking at the altar, there's the Radha Damodar altar with multiple other deities. And then there's a little passageway you can go into the courtyard. And there was Rupa Goswami's Samadhi, Rupa Goswami's Bhajan Kutir, and Prabhupada had his wall back to where the deities are, the side of the altar, looking out at Samadhi and Bhajan Kutir of Rupa Goswami. It was all empty. Now it's not empty. It was different. And we went just after that, and I remember very clearly, to circumambulate around the altar, there was a stone slab. You had to step over a little opening, because underneath the opening was a very cool place during the heat of the Vrindavan summers. The six Goswamis, according to what Guru Das told us, because he was told by Prabhupada, the Goswamis, as you see in this painting, they got together in a cool place. This isn't in the hot summer, but they would discuss topics of Krishna together. It's one of the things they did at the Radha Damodar temple. And the Radha Damodar temple was the headquarters of, or the place of worship of, Jiva Goswami. So there's 6. Here's Rupa and Sanatan. And so this first part is an introduction to who is Sanatana Goswami, not just out of the 6 Goswamis, but beyond that. From Gaura Dwadashaditya Tila, Rupa Manjari's closest friend. Rupa Manjari is Rupa Goswami, but in their Krishna Lila, Rupa Manjari's closest friend, who is known by the name Rati Manjari and Lavanka Manjari, appeared in the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Sri Sanatana Goswami, who is considered to be a personal extension of the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In case you like Sanskrit, there's the Sanskrit. Sadhya, Gaura, Abhina. Tanu. Tanu means his body or form. And Abhina, non-different. Gaura, Abhina. Personal expansion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body. Shoo. Sanatana Goswami. We're getting introduced to Sanatana Goswami. And then the exchange between Lord Chaitanya and Sanatana Goswami. In Adi Lila purport, Prabhupada writes, anyone desiring to become expert in the service of Sri Radha and Krishna should always aspire to be under the guidance of Swarup Damodar Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami. To come under the protection of the Goswamis, one must get the mercy and grace of Nityananda Prabhu. So chapter 5 of Adi Lila is about Nityananda. Nityananda gives their association. And their association plus Nityananda's mercy, one can advance in Radha Krishna worship up to the stage of always being in their association. Similarly, this is a book by Raghunath Das Goswami, glorifying Sanatana Goswami. That's why I'm showing it to you. Mana Shiksha, text 3. He's instructing his mind. Listen, O mind. If you desire in every birth to reside in the land of Braja with loving attachment and to serve the youthful couple, Sri Sri Radha Krishna, in close proximity, then clearly remember and offer obeisances to Sri Swarup, Sri Rupa, and his associates in Vrindavan, and to Sri Rupa's elder brother, Sri Sanatana. This is introduction to Sanatana and his relationship with Lord Chaitanya, and then their loving exchanges. Again, Adi Lila chapter 5 about Nityananda. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami has described Sanatana Goswami in his prayer, Milapa Krishamanjali. Very amazing book. Verse 6, where he has expressed his obligation to Sanatana Goswami in the following words. Gives the Sanskrit, but notice the phrase in red, Paradukkha Dukhi. Many of you have heard the phrase. That's where it comes from. Paradukkha Dukhi. That's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But he's identifying Sanatana Goswami as being like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I was unwilling to drink the nectar of devotional service possessed of renunciation, but Sanatana Goswami, out of his causeless mercy, made me drink it, even though I was otherwise unable to do so. Therefore, he is an ocean of mercy. He is very compassionate to fallen souls like me, and thus it is my duty to offer my respectful obeisances unto his lotus feet. Now, Raghunath Das Goswami is known for his renunciation, but he's giving credit to his renunciation capacity to Sanatana Goswami, who made him drink it. But made him drink it means, attachment to Krishna one becomes less interested or detached from material enjoyments. Sri Sanatana Goswami Prabhu, the teacher of the science of devotional service, wrote several books, which the Brihat Bhagavatamrita is famous, very famous. This is from the purport of this verse. Anyone who wants to know about the subject matter of devotees, devotional service, and Krishna must read this book. It's a must read. The big book. Better read Srimad Bhagavatam before you read Brihad Bhagavatamrita, because your head will spin. But in course of time, if you read it, you'll be dancing. Again, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sanatana Goswami, he said to Ramananda Roy, Sanatana Goswami's renunciation of material connections is just like yours. Or yours is just like his. Humility, renunciation, and excellent learning exist in him simultaneously. I empowered both these brothers to go to Vrindavan and expand the literature of bhakti. Mahaprabhu's discussion with Ramananda Roy when they met in Vrindavan, and then Ramananda Roy was amazed to see the qualities of Sanatana Goswami, and Lord Chaitanya took the opportunity to appreciate both Sanatana Rupa and Ramananda Roy. So here's a list from Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is Prabhupada's list of his books. He, Dwadashaditya Tila, Sanatana Goswami, wrote a commentary on Brihat Bhagavatamrita along with the Bhagavatamrita. He then composed, along with Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Hari Bhakti Vilas. We'll hear more about this shortly. He, Sanatana Goswami, gave a commentary on the 10th canto Bhagavatam. he asked Jiva Goswami to edit it. Jiva Goswami obliged, and he wrote a commentary on Sanatana Goswami's commentary. They're a good team. A poetic summary of the first half of the 10th canto. Sometimes it's also known as Krishna Lila Stava. Krishna Lila Stava. And commentaries on Damodarastaka, which we sing every month, Damodar month, and Kartik Mahatmya. Here's Bhaktivinoda Thakur glorifying Sanatana Goswami. You should remember Srila Kavi Karnapur. He is the author of Gaura, Dwadashaditya Tila, and other writings. And all his family members who are sincere servants of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You should also remember the father of Kavi Karnapur, Sivananda Sain. Always remember all those Vaishnavas who strictly follow the path of Srila Rupa Goswami and who are absorbed in bhajan. If you actually want residence in the land of Braja, then you must remember all the Vaishnavas who are followers of Srila Rupa Goswami. Now, Sanatana Goswami was the elder brother, and Sanatana Goswami was looked up to by Rupa as his guru. At the same time, Rupa Goswami is in one sense, the most excellent amongst the 6 Goswamis. And, they can have a debate about who's the most excellent. The personality of Sanatana Goswami, pictured here, is sitting by a little cottage and ready to write whatever inspiration Super Soul gave to him. According to Gaura Gendadeshdibika, we heard already, Rati Manjari and Lavanga Manjari. It's not like he had 2 souls within one body. That's not how it works. How it works is there's an angsa, or a partial expansion of that entity under the desire of Krishna, that for his pastimes as Mahaprabhu, they would appear as a partial expansion within the body of Sanatana Goswami. He also, a angsa of Sanatana Kumar, entered into the body of Sanatana Goswami. So he has these 3 dimensions or features. Through Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, Lord Chaitanya taught humility. Bhakti Ratnakar, not Gaura Gendadeshdibika Tila. And from Chaitanya Charitamrita, through Sanatana, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught the articles of faith in devotional service. So we're in good company to learn more about the life of Sanatana Goswami and what to speak of the loving exchanges between them. While Sanatana Goswami was residing in Ramakeli, this is from Bhakti Ratnakar, he had a Vaishnav teacher. The Vaishnav teacher came to visit from time to time in Ramakeli, and the teacher's name was Vidya Vachaspati. And according to this statement of Bhakti Ratnakar, he was, during his time, the most celebrated scholar. And the most celebrated scholar of the country came to give instruction to Sanatana Goswami about devotional teachings and the scriptures. So he was already, before he became Sanatana Goswami, he was already highly elevated in scholarship from the Vedas, from a very good teacher. And he was very devoted to his teacher. No one can achieve the depth of devotion that he had for his guru. So he's being glorified in this way in Bhakti Ratnakar. Here's a painting of the deity of Madan-moan. The deity of Madan-moan was a sometimes called bas relief. It was not the same Madan-moan that we see that's, three-dimensional. There's a flat backside to that Madan-moan that's now in Karoli, or that Sanatana Goswami worshipped. And here we see Sanatana Goswami giving him his prasad, placing it in his hand, and the deity reaching out and saying thank you. This principle of deity worship, exemplified by Sanatana Goswami and most of the 6 Goswamis. One of the 6 Goswamis, he didn't have a deity that he personally worshipped. He worshipped Bhagavatam as his deity. And that's Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. The other 5 all had their deities. So this is a celebrated verse. Many of you know the verse. Sadhu Sangha Nama Kirtan Bhagavat Shravan Mathurava Sri Murtaya Murtira Shraddhaya Sevan. So these are 5 things. The 5: association with devotees, chanting the holy name, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, residing in Potomac, and worshipping the deity with faith and veneration. 5. These 5 are most powerful amongst the 64 items of bhakti given in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Whenever we have rituals, we chant Mangalacharana prayers. One of those Mangalacharana prayers is the prayer to Madan-moan, because he's the presiding deity of Sambandha Gyan. So let's say the verse together, because we're mostly familiar with it. Jayatam sarato pangor mama manda matergati matstarvasva padam bhojo radha madana mohano. Glory to the all-merciful Sri Radha and Madan-moan. They are the only shelter of my depraved and crippled self. Their lotus feet are the be-all and end-all of my life. The place where he worshipped initially, where Sanatana Goswami worshipped Madan-moan, was on top of this hill called Dwadashaditya Tila. It's called that name because Dwadasa means 12, and Aditya means sun. So when Krishna, just down the street, was engaged with Kaliya the serpent all day long and his body was very cold, he wanted to get warm. So he went down the street, went on top of this hill, and 12 suns came and warmed his body up. Thus, Dwadashaditya Tila. Tila means hill. And on top of that hill, that's where the temple of Madan-moan was built by, you heard upstairs, the salt merchant who built the temple for Madan-moan. And how the deity came to Sanatana Goswami's hand, you also heard some interesting details. Here's, during the British time, just a pencil drawing of the Ghat at the bottom of the hill, and because that's the river Jamuna, and then at the top of the hill, that's the Madan-moan temple before the top got smashed. The painting or drawing without it being smashed. So there he was, under the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to reside in Vrindavan. We heard these instructions given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he was around 30 years old when he arrived in Vrindavan. He remained in Vrindavan for another 40 years, plus a little visit to Puri. Before he went to Puri, before he went to Vrindavan, he was living in Ramakeli. And he was serving in the government of Nawab Hussain Shah, because the whole of India was ruled by the Muslim kings, and the one that was in his area was Nawab Hussain Shah. And they didn't want to be. They were Vaishnavas. But Nawab was cruel. And he understood how to rule. You find some local people, and you get the local people to rule on your behalf. So he told Sanatan and Rupa and Anupam, listen, either or. You serve in my government, or I'll torture and kill all the Vaishnavas in the land. You think about it, tell me which one you want. Of course, they didn't want either, but they accepted service in the government. And when he accepted service in the government, his Vaishnavism was rewarded by having some wealth, and so with his wealth, he made a facsimile of Vrindavan. That's what the painting is meant to illustrate. And he had deities of Madan-moan. Or at least today there's deities of Madan-moan in a place that's now called Gupta Vrindavan. This is a photograph of where his office was. And while they were doing this service for Nawab Hussain Shah, they didn't like it. They heard of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because they had government facilities. They were able to write letters to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and send those letters with a messenger. The messenger carried the letters. They didn't hear back. Finally, they heard back. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent a cryptic message that someone who intercepted it couldn't understand it. Here was the message. Become just like a wife who is attached to another man and will perform her worldly duties to her husband very nicely so he doesn't suspect. But in her mind, she will always be thinking of the other man, waiting for the chance to meet him. In other words, hang on, I'll come. And while you're there, do your duties nicely so no one will suspect something's up. And I'll come. So that's how they should conduct themselves. And Mahaprabhu understood their desire because they were writing letters. And so, as you know, this is now the reciprocation of loving dealings with Sanatana Goswami and between him and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, his plan was to go to Vrindavan, and we're going to show you shortly. Somebody wants to get in. Can you let that somebody that wants to get in to come in? So you all have an idea of geography of India. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was living in Puri. So here's India. There's on the east coast by the sea, there's Puri. And Vrindavan is way up here in the northwest. To get to the northwest, you don't go north. You go west, north. He went northeast. He stopped at Shantipur, said Hari Bol to Advaitacharya and the devotees there. And then he went on to Ramakeli. You'll see a map shortly. And he went all the way to Ramakeli because he went specifically to give his association to Rupa and Sanatan. There they are, falling at his feet, holding his feet. He purposely extended his foot a little bit so they could hold his foot. And offering prayers and offering prayers and offering prayers. In the course of this exchange, according to Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya said, "My dear Dabir Kas, you two brothers are my old servants. My dear Sakara Malik, from this day your names will be changed to Srila Rupa and Srila Sanatana. Now please abandon your humility, for my heart is breaking to see you so humble." as you know, after that meeting, Sanatana Goswami, being Sanatana Goswami, knowing how to be a minister unto a king, because that was his service to the king, he was giving minister-type service or advice to Mahaprabhu, and said two things. Nawab is behaving all right, but he's a madman. At any time, he could completely flip. I think you shouldn't stay here, because I fear for your safety. As much as we want you here, best to not stay. And the second thing, you came with thousands of followers, and that's not the way for a sannyasi to enter Vrindavan. You're going to Vrindavan. Enter Vrindavan with just come alone, or at most with one servant, but not thousands of followers. That's my advice. That's Sanatana Goswami giving advice to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who he knows is the personality of Godhead. How elevated is Sanatana Goswami? It wasn't rude or inappropriate, it's just service. Overnight, Mahaprabhu considered, and he did the needful. He left and went back to Puri. When he went back to Puri, Rupa Goswami and their younger brother, Anupam, disappeared. And they went directly to join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, heading in the direction of Vrindavan, because they knew he was going to go back to Puri and so forth. And Sanatana Goswami stayed behind to rule the kingdom while his two brothers could escape. And when he did that, the king, he wasn't coming for his duties. So the king became upset. So he sent a physician. He says he's ill. The physician came back, says he's not ill. He's deceiving you. So this is an old painting showing he's coming before the king, holding his hookah pipe. And the BBT painting shows like this. He came right to where Sanatana Goswami was residing. There were many brahmanas who were holding discussions on Srimad Bhagavatam. And he asked Sanatana Goswami, what's your intention? Very direct. And Sanatana Goswami said, I don't intend to continue in your service. You can do with me what you like. And Nawab wasn't happy to hear that. So rather than kill him, which there was an option, he decided to put him in prison. And this is a photograph of the prison where he was held by the Nawab. And then there's this interesting, we can call it transcendental trickery, where Rupa had left some gold coins, a lot of gold coins, 7,000 gold coins, 7,000 gold coins. That's a lot of gold coins, in case of emergency. There was an emergency. So Sanatana Goswami bribed the jailkeeper, 6,000 gold coins. No, the Nawab will kill me if I let you go. He said, well, you don't have to let me go. You just tell the Nawab. He said he had to pass stool. He went into the river, and he just jumped in the river with his shackles on and drowned. And I went to look for him in the river, and I couldn't find him. Just tell him like that. Here's another 1,000, 2,000 gold coins. Say yes. So he said yes. 7,000 gold coins. He got released. So now he's released, and he's traveling with a servant or an assistant named Ishan. And as they're traveling, they crossed a hilly region where there was an inn or it wasn't a motel, but just a place where people could stay. And the innkeeper had an astrologer. The astrologer did some calculations and said, oh, coming in this direction is a very wealthy man. And if you kill him, you can take his wealth. So the innkeeper liked that idea. So when Sanatana Goswami and Ishan came to his place, he treated Sanatana Goswami so nicely. Sanatana Goswami could do good math. 2 + 2. This guy's got something up his sleeve. Why is he treating me so nicely? So he asked Ishan, his assistant, Ishan, do you have any gold coins with you? I have 7 gold coins. And so he actually had 8, but he wanted to keep one. He said, turn it over to the innkeeper. He plans to kill us. So Ishan gave 8 gold coins to the innkeeper. The innkeeper said, it's a good thing you did this because I was going to kill you to get the gold coins. But now that you've, turned it over, I don't have to kill you. And let me help you get to your destination. So he was planning to meet up with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Varanasi. So now I'm going to show you some geography of India. Down on the east coast, that's Jagannath Puri. And this, you're going to see yellow footsteps is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's travels. He went from Jagannath Puri to Shantipur, from Shantipur to Ramakeli. And then in Ramakeli, he met Rupa and Sanatan. He was advised, don't go with thousands of followers, so he went back. There he goes back, and went through Shantipur, back to Puri. And then Rupa Goswami is going to then, this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jharikhand forest, Varanasi. Then Prayag. In Prayag he's going to meet up with whom? Rupa, right? Then he went to Vrindavan. On his way back, in Bengal, there's Rupa. And Rupa met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Prayag. Nice discussion. We're not going to be going into it, but this is just the chronology. They spent some time. Lord Chaitanya gave instructions to Rupa, and after giving instructions to Rupa, he went to Varanasi, while Rupa simultaneously went to Vrindavan. Said, you go to Vrindavan, after some time you can come meet me in Puri. So now he's going, Mahaprabhu in those yellow footsteps, going back to Puri, and lo and behold, Sanatana Goswami is making his way, and they meet in Varanasi. Cool, huh? And they spend some time, we'll hear about the time they spent. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went through Jharikhand forest back to Jagannath Puri, and on the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sanatana Goswami went to Vrindavan. As he was making his way to Vrindavan, simultaneously, in a different path, there goes Rupa Goswami, heading for Puri. And he made it all the way to Puri, stopped in Bengal, that's where he has relatives, and then he went to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. Notice the pink one up there, that's Sanatana Goswami spent a whole year. Rupa Goswami spent 1 month in Vrindavan, and then he went to join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He spent a whole year. And as Rupa is leaving, going through Bengal, look at this. Here comes Sanatana Goswami. And he's going to pass through the Jharikhand forest, get a disease, and feel terrible, and then go to Jagannath Puri, spend time with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. So there's those places in India where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu traveled. There's just a chart. Now there's Sanatana Goswami. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is following this path. The color code is different. went back to Puri. And then he went to Vrindavan. And went to Vrindavan. There he met Rupa Goswami on his way back in Prayag. And then Rupa Goswami went to Vrindavan under the order of Mahaprabhu. Come see me later in Puri. There goes Sanatana Goswami meeting with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes back to Puri. And the two brothers don't take the same path. Sanatana Goswami goes to Vrindavan. Rupa Goswami goes to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Stops at a couple places on the way. And meets Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. We're not done yet, because Sanatana Goswami has been told, stay for some time in Vrindavan, come meet me later. So he stays in Vrindavan for a year. Rupa Goswami, they take a different path. They don't meet one another anywhere, except when they both get back to Vrindavan. I did this because when I was reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, I got a little confused. So I tried to get unconfused. And so I made this little, and I explained what to do, and somebody did the graphics. Now, Sanatana Goswami, for the second time, is going to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he meets Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Varanasi. What happened after he left, after Sanatana Goswami left the inn, he went to a place where his brother-in-law's name was Jharikhand, and Jharikhand gave him this nice chadar. So he's taking the path of renunciation wearing this fancy chadar. Now, Mahaprabhu, when he came to Varanasi, it's specific and it's important that he was not staying with a brahmana. He's a sannyasi. He stayed with a kayasta, who was a clerk, who, according to the caste system at the time, he's a Shudra, but he's a Vaishnava. So Mahaprabhu didn't care for his occupation or his social caste or any of that stuff. He's a Vaishnava. And so Sanatana Goswami went straight to the home of, I don't know how he found out where he was, but he went to Chandrasekhar's home, and there he was. And Mahaprabhu came out and embraced him. And there's Chandrasekhar observing this exchange, loving exchange. And many, many things happened, but in the course of those many things, Sanatana Goswami, as a prime minister for the Nawab Hussain Shah, he understood things even without them being spoken. He noticed that Mahaprabhu kept glancing at his fancy chadar, indicating he doesn't approve it. Tapan Mishra, who also lived in Varanasi, gave him old garments, kind of like raggedy garments. And that was fine. But the fancy chadar and the raggedy garments didn't make a good match. So he went to take bath by the side of the Ganges, and he saw an old sadhu who had taken his bath and was laying his torn quilt out in the sun to dry. And he made a request of the sadhu, may I please exchange my fancy chadar with your torn quilt? And the sadhu said, this isn't nice. You're a gentleman. Don't tease like this. He said, I'm not teasing. I'm making a request. Kindly give me your torn quilt. So he agreed. And when he came back with, Sanatana Goswami came back with a torn quilt, Mahaprabhu, then he commented, this was not good. You're on the path of renunciation, and wearing fancy clothes is not appropriate. So you did the right thing. Well done. And while they were together in Varanasi, in 2 lectures, it's not in Chaitanya Charitamrita, at least I couldn't find it, but Prabhupada said specifically, Mahaprabhu gave him sannyas mantra and sannyas attire in Varanasi, their second meeting. And the celebrated section is called Sanatana Shiksha, where he asked these 2 questions. Those of you that have heard Prabhupada's recorded lectures, you know what these 2 questions are. Kayami, who am I? And Kena Amaya Jara Tapatrai. Why am I Tapatraya, the threefold miseries? Why am I always disturbed by them? Why? Who am I, and why am I always disturbed by the threefold miseries? And a lengthy discussion recorded by Krishnadas Kaviraj in Chaitanya Charitamrita called Celebrated Sanatana Shiksha. Gosh, it's 5 minutes to 3. I'm not going to finish. Help. And then Vrindavan's not here. I'll keep going. 1970, summer 1970, I was a bhakta in the Boston Temple, and we all heard Prabhupada wants to complete all 12 cantos, Srimad Bhagavatam, 60 volumes, go team go. He was like, and coming out, because in Boston at that time was ISKCON Press, before there was BBT, because it was all under one roof. So we knew the pace was intense. And then somehow or another, Prabhupada hit the pause button and came out with teachings of Lord Chaitanya in the midst of his marathon to get Srimad Bhagavatam completed, because he wanted us to so teachings of Lord Chaitanya has 5 Shiksha sections. And we've already heard 2. Rupa, Sanatan. Who are the other 3? Ramananda Roy, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and Prakashananda Saraswati. One book. Lord Chaitanya's teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So those are the 5 instruction sections, along with so many other nice things. When he gave instructions to Sanatana Goswami to take these answers to these 2 questions, he gave him 4 specific instructions. This is mentioned in Madhya Lila, chapter 23. It's again mentioned in Antya Lila. You'll hear it again, so don't worry. These are the 4 instructions. O Sanatan, you should broadcast the revealed scriptures on devotional service and excavate the lost places of pilgrimage in the district of Mathura. That's 2. Establish devotional service to Krishna and Radharani in Vrindavan. You should also compile bhakti scriptures and preach the bhakti cult from Vrindavan. So here's Prabhupada's purport to that verse. Here's the 4. He lists them one by one. Broadcast the revealed scriptures on devotional service and establish conclusions of devotional service. We often hear that Rupa Goswami was given the excavate places, but it was also Sanatana Goswami, the lost places of pilgrimage. Established the Vrindavan method of temple worship and installed deities in temples. This is Prabhupada's language in his purport to that verse. To enunciate the behavior of a Vaishnava, as he did in Hari Bhakti Vilas. Same purport. In this way, Sanatana Goswami was empowered to establish the cult of Vaishnavism. So from there, this is the loving exchange. At the end of 2 months, he sent him to Vrindavan. You stay there for some time, and then you can come join me in Puri. He stayed for 1 year in Vrindavan, and then he went straight to Puri. And the way to Puri, he passed through the Jharikhand forest, and you know the story. The story is, this is the loving exchange. According to later, Haridas Thakur says, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was examining you. So the examination was, he was lean and thin from fasting and took water from the wrong place, and the combination of the two, he contracted disease, a skin disease called sores that were oozing pus, smelly, yucky, stinky pus. There's scratchy sores and there's the weeping sores. So it was the other kind. And so for 1 year, he's going to stay in Puri, and on the way to Puri, passing through the Jharikhand forest, he was thinking, in the background, that's Haridas, because Haridas is watching Lord Chaitanya embrace him, and Sanatana Goswami wants to get out of the way. Please don't embrace me. Please don't touch me. So on his way to Puri, he considered, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu likes to embrace me, and I feel terrible. So here's what I'm going to do. He didn't say anything. He's traveling alone, thinking, when I reach Puri, in the presence of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I'm going to see Lord Chaitanya at Rath Yatra, throw my body before the wheel of Jagannath, and give up my life. End of problem. He didn't say anything, but Mahaprabhu was omniscient. So later Mahaprabhu said, just out of the blue, your decision to commit suicide is the result of the mode of ignorance. One cannot get love of God simply by committing suicide. You have already dedicated your life and body to my service. Therefore, your body does not belong to you, nor do you have any right to commit suicide. I have to execute many devotional services through your body. I want you to preach the cult of devotional service and go to Vrindavan to excavate the lost holy places. Again, another instruction, specific empowerment instruction. In another place, this is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave Sanatana Goswami a place of residence. You stay with Haridas. His place is small, but you'll like each other's company. Then he confronted, although Sanatana Goswami had not disclosed to anybody, he knew. Your body is my property. You've already surrendered. Similar. Now this is Krishnadas Kaviraj. This is verses cut and paste. Krishnadas Kaviraj had the opportunity to have the diary of Sarup Damodar and the instructions of what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was doing from Raghunath Das. So it's described in different places, but it's the same dialogue. I don't think I'm going to read it because of time. But he's saying again, you shall have to ascertain the basic principles of a devotee, devotional service, love of Godhead, Vaishnava duties, and Vaishnava characteristics. You will also have to explain Krishna's devotional service, establish centers for cultivation of love of Krishna, excavate lost places of pilgrimage, and teach people how to adopt the renounced order. I've got a lot of service for you, and you can't damage someone else's property. Your body is my property. I have plans. I have to do all this work through your body, but you want to give it up. How can I tolerate this? Then he said, Haridas, instruct him. Tell him he can't do this. Sanatana Goswami's reply, no one can understand the deep ideas you plan within your heart. A wooden doll chants and dances according to the directions of the magician, but does not know how he is dancing and singing. My dear Lord, as you cause one to dance, he dances accordingly. But how he dances, And who is causing him to dance? He does not know. This is their loving exchange. This is the topic. So that didn't work. He can't throw his body under the wheel of the chariot. Next, examining of Sanatana Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called Sanatana Goswami, sent a messenger, come see me at Yameshwara Tota, which is on the other side of Puri. So the direct line is to go in front of the temple and go to Yameshwara Tota, where Lord Chaitanya was visiting with Gadadhar Pandit. This is a photograph of the archway at the entrance. If you look closely on the right side, it says the Tota Gopinath temple. Tota means garden, and Gopinath is the deity that's in that place. Yameshwara is a very ancient name for the place, without going into the history because of time. Here's, they painted it differently. And there's the archway. Inside, there's the deity of Gopinath, the painting of the deity of Gopinath. And Radha and Lalita by his side. Of course, they're in saris, but they're in the mood of accompanying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his, Gopinath in his pastimes. He's the Lord of the Gopis. So to get to Yameshwara Tota, he walked along the beach. When he walked along the beach, his feet blistered, literally. And when he got to where Mahaprabhu was, he looked at his feet and said, "What's this? Why'd you go by the beach? It's so hot. Your feet are blistered." And he explained, because of this yucky stuff on my body, if I walk by the temple and some brahmanas are coming and going through the main gate, they may brush against me and I made a big offense, so I went this way. Mahaprabhu was amazed at, his standard of inconveniencing himself because he didn't want to make an offense to the pujaris just in case, brushing by them as they're coming and going outside the main gate. The next was when he left Yameshwara Tota, Mahaprabhu embraced him again. Don't touch me, and he embraced him. So he he revealed his mind to Jagadananda Pandit, who suggested, you came from Vrindavan, and after Rath Yatra, why don't you go back to Vrindavan and problem is over. He liked that idea. He didn't tell anybody the idea, but Mahaprabhu knew. So Mahaprabhu, when he knew, he came and he scolded Sanatana Goswami and then scolded Jagadananda. Who do you think you are? Giving advice to a senior Vaishnava like Sanatana Goswami? You're impotent. So he was blasting him, lovingly blasting him. So that path was cut off. He couldn't throw his body under the wheel of the chariot. He couldn't leave the place. And Mahaprabhu keeps wanting to embrace him. And every day, because Sanatana Goswami was staying with Haridas, and every day Mahaprabhu would bring prasad for Haridas, because he wouldn't go in the temple. So he brought prasad for Sanatana, and every day he'd want to embrace Sanatana. What to do? Their loving exchange. And Mahaprabhu said, "Don't worry. It's like a father or a parent with a small baby, and the baby makes messes, and the parent doesn't mind, cleans up the messes. That's very affectionate. That's my mood in my relationship with you and Haridas and all the devotees." Just like a father to a small child. That's how I look at you. Then he embraced him firmly. Sanatana Goswami tried to back away and run away, and he grabbed him and embraced him. And miracle cure, his body stopped itching. The sores healed. Haridas Thakur said directly to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, while he's still with the two of them. This is your pastime. You made Sanatana Goswami drink the water of Jharikhand, and you actually generated the consequent itching sores on his body. After thus causing this itching sores, you examined Sanatana Goswami. What's he going to do? No one can understand your transcendental pastimes. And the concluding section for this class at 10 minutes after 4. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited the essence of devotional service through Sanatana Goswami, who had almost been converted into a Muslim. Muslim in the sense that he was given a Muslim name. It was in Muslim king's service. And, that's a no-no for a Vaishnava Brahmin. And he did it because he wanted to protect the Vaishnavas in the land. Not because he wanted a position or money or something. So that's a small portion of the big topic of Sanatana Goswami and his exchange with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. These the loving exchanges. He had many, many other dealings with the Vaishnavas, with Rupa, with many nice things. And tomorrow is Gaura Purnima. So any discussion? I think I'm okay with Ananda Vrindavan. She'll let me go over the time. Yes? And the Vangamanjari.
That Raghunath Das Goswami is also Raga or Rati?
No, it's Raga.
It's Raga, okay.
Yeah. No. Yeah, Raga.
Thank you.
All the way in the back. Okay. Yes.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. So with the testing of Sanatana Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu testing him.
I heard it. Examining him, not testing.
Yeah, sorry.
You could say testing, examining.
Examining. So, what was Sanatana Goswami's realization?
Mercy.
Okay.
But it was difficult because, for reasons mentioned.
Yeah.
He just wants to serve. He doesn't want to. In the commentary, whether it's commentary or verse, I can't remember. It is said that smelly stuff smelled like sandalwood paste. It made the body of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smell like sandalwood paste, not like smelly, woozy, yucky, pussy, gawky stuff. Krishnadas Kaviraj said. I wasn't there. So your question was, what is his realization?
Yeah.
It was extreme discomfort, but when the conclusion was reached, it's the same as Haridas. He arranged everything so that he was checkmated. He had only one position.
Okay.
He couldn't do this, he couldn't do that, he couldn't do the other thing. Just fully dependent upon Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The problem was gone.
Okay.
Fully dependent. And his love for Mahaprabhu, just went through the roof.
Yeah.
But that was their loving dealing. It's different.
Yes.
Everyone's different, and the relationship is different, but that's a very specific exchange between them.
Thank you, Guru.
Yes. Here comes the microphone.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I'm really sorry if you did actually already mention this. But you mentioned that Sanatana Goswami spent a year in Vrindavan.
He what?
He spent a year in Vrindavan.
Yes.
In that year, was that when he established the worship of Madan-moan, or was that
No.
in his next visit?
Next stayed there. He was staying
Okay.
on top of this hill. Now, where he stayed for the 1 year doesn't say.
Okay. So during that 1 year, he wasn't with Rupa Goswami, was he? Because
No.
at that point, Rupa Goswami had...
Well, they came and they went, but eventually they were both in Vrindavan. Eventually they were both in Vrindavan, but they didn't stay side by side with each other.
Wow.
They stayed proximate in some cases. Here, I'll show you. One of the places where he stayed was at Radhakund.
Wow.
Another place where he stayed was by Pavan Sarovar. That's Ardina Bandhuji. That's not Sanatana Goswami. But what's behind him is his Bhajan Kutir, one of his places, because he was always traveling all through. He was like a village elder. He looked after everybody. Everybody knew him. He knew everybody. They had family issues or children's issues, or he knew when marriages, and he was everybody's everything. He was the Prime Minister of Vrindavan, unofficially. Loved by everybody and cared for everybody. That was Sanatana Goswami. But he had some places where he liked. So, the Madan-moan temple, Dwadashaditya Tila, Radhakund. He had a little temple, that little place, Bhajan Kutir, and his deities of Madan-moan. And here's the inside, what it looked like inside. And there's another place, different place by the side of Sanatan, by the side of Radhakund. This is his Bhajan Kutir place. Inside his Bhajan Kutir place is his photograph. This is where he left his body. And by the side is Chakaleshwar Mahadev, etc. So he traveled. We hear they stepped under a different tree every night. He did that sometimes, and sometimes he had a little Bhajan Kutir. But your question specifically was, were Rupa and Sanatan together? They met. Sometimes they met at Radha Damodar and discussed topics of Krishna together, etc. And sometimes they were at different places doing different things.
I'm really sorry. Thank you so much. I just had another quick question, but I was just
Go ahead.
wondering if Anupam was also a Manjari, or if...
I don't remember.
Okay.
But you can look it up.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So you mentioned that Sanatana Goswami did not want Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to embrace him because of his bodily condition, right?
Correct.
So I want to understand, did Sanatana Goswami was not completely surrendered to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he knew that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knows everything what is going on in his mind? So why, when he thought of running away from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, thinking about going to Vrindavan or coming in front of the chariot, he did not know that he did not have full trust in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that he completely
it's a
knew.
loving exchange. Please don't do that. I could give some worldly example, but even in worldly examples, you may know somebody knows something and you just have a feeling and you just do what your feeling says because of a loving feeling. It's just loving exchange. Allow for loving exchange, please.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Up front. Put your hand up so he can see your hand. Mataji, put your hand up. Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj. Sorry, I just had a second question about Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Could you comment on how that conversation became revealed to Sanatana Goswami? Because
Which conversation?
the Brihad Bhagavatamrita.
What about, which conversation?
Between I thought Brihad Bhagavatamrita was a conversation between Uttara and Parikshit.
Yeah.
But it's not clear from reading at least the start of the book how it became revealed to Sanatana Goswami.
Oh, Krishna can reveal anything to a pure devotee.
Yeah. Okay.
It happens. It happens. Things become revealed. In different ways, things become revealed. So it's not always like this or always like that or something. How it became, there's no indication that I'm aware of. But is it possible? Absolutely. You want a scriptural reference? Here's a nice scriptural reference I like. I'll just share. Sri Brahma Samhita. You can look it up later. I don't recall the verse number, but the translation of Bhakti Siddhanta is Yadrashi Yadrashi Shraddha Siddhi Bhavati Tadrashi. Siddhi Bhavati, he translates as one's realization awakens. Siddhi Bhavati. Siddhi can mean different things. In this translation, Bhakti Siddhanta translates it as realization is revealed. Siddhi Bhavati Tadrashi. So according to Yadrashi Tadrashi, according to faith, realization comes. So things may be directly revealed. It's like scripture. It's revealed unto qualified persons if Krishna so desires. So Krishna so desired, and some revelation came. Now, was there any scriptural authority behind that revelation? It doesn't say. That specifically in the beginning of Brihad Bhagavatamrita, there was a time gap between when Sanatana Goswami finished speaking to Maharaj Parikshit before the snake bird came. I've never read that anywhere else. But that's what Sanatana Goswami writes. And in that time interval, Uttara comes and says, I couldn't follow everything he said. Could you tell me what he said? That's how it begins. So your question is, where'd that come from? Yadrashi Yadrashi Shraddha Siddhi Bhavati Tadrashi. It says realization. Many things written by our Goswamis are like that.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
This is our last question.
Okay. Thank you for the wonderful class. I think the answer that you just gave, maybe it's the same answer to this question, but I just wanted to ask, generally when we see instructions given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sanatana Goswami, the 4 instructions that he showed us,
Yes.
they were did not have a lot of details in them.
No.
And usually in Kali Yuga, we try to look for more direct instructions and we prefer direct instructions because that way we don't have to think that much and we can just perform the instructions and be happy that, okay, we followed a senior devotee or our guru. So how do we perceive instructions? Should we wait for the realization to get into the details of the instruction?
It depends on the circumstance. It depends on the instruction. It depends. Take for example, Bhakti Siddhanta gave an instruction to our founder Acharya without the details. And he did this, he did that, he did the other thing, and he did other things, and some things work, some things, so it's not like trial and error exactly, but he's guided by Super Soul to do what he did. And as he did something, and it was, very effective, he did more of it. And then it expanded. I mean, he guided by Super Soul. You take a step and look for some indication from Krishna. Is this the right step? The step is guided, but then you're also looking for indication. Was it the right step, or should I go a little bit to the left or to the right or something? It's inspiration from Super Soul. So detailed is not always going to happen. Sometimes it can happen. But specifically with deity worship and those things that are guided by regulative activities like cooking, and you don't just wing it. But there's, some creativity has its place, but there are some activities that by nature they have to be intuitive and creative and so forth. I mean, how many different designs were there for this temple before the temple came up, for example? I don't know how many, but I'm sure it was more than what's here. And then considering as you go along, and then the rules of the township and what they had to do and not do in parking and da 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 da. So you have the general, and you start filling in the detail with the intelligence that Super Soul gives. So some things must be done like that. Some things it's very explicit and don't deviate. And somewhere it's in between. The main thing, one main thing, please Krishna. Pretty simple. And then, okay, what's going to please Krishna? Maybe there's 10 things I'm thinking about. So then I don't have a specific instruction, so I'm catatonic. I can't move because I don't know which of those 10 things. So you take the main thing and you move with the main thing. And Super Soul will give some guidance. Last question. Thank you very much. And I'm supposed to do something like this tomorrow. So some of it, if you're not here, that's okay.